We were speaking about the thing earlier. Quick review on this from chapter 11, In Search of the Miraculous. If a man dies without having awakened, he cannot be born. If a man is born without having died. Death. In the spiritual, religious sense here, death. What he means by this, death. If a man is born without death, without having died, he may become what is called here an immortal thing. Immortal thing. Moving on in the chapter, we have already spoken enough about the meaning of being born. This relates to the beginning of a new growth of essence. Growth of essence. The beginning of the formation of individuality, real and true. Individuality. The beginning of the appearance of one indivisible I. One indivisible I, the true I, the real I, true individuality. But in order to be able to attain to this, at least begin to attain it, a man must die. Again, we're looking at death in the sense given here in the spiritual, religious, psychological sense here. We're not talking about ordinary, life, physical death. No. So to attain it, a man must die. And that is, which is to say, he must free himself from 1,000 petty attachments and identifications which hold him in the position in which he is. He is attached to everything in his life, attached to his imagination, attached to his stupidity, attached even to his suffering, useless suffering, possibly probably to his sufferings more than to anything else. He must free himself from this attachment to things, identification with things, keep alive all of these thousands of useless I's in a man. We're talking about you and me. We're talking about each and every one of us. This seems to escape people in the psychiatric community. We all, including the psychiatrists themselves, suffer from multiple numbers of I's, of personalities. The science of psychiatry does not work in terms of providing a method for us for self-change, for attainment of true individuality. And so all these I's that all of us, each and every one of us, are made up of, must die. Death, in the sense given here, in order that the big I, the true I, may be born. But how can they be made to die? How to die? How to die? These I's, that they do not want to die. It is at this point that the possibility of awakening comes to the rescue, like Superman, to the rescue. Awakening in this sense here is as Superman coming to the rescue. Yeah? To awaken means to realize your nothingness, to see your own nothingness. For me to see my own nothingness. No one is left out here. That is, to realize one's complete and absolute mechanicalness, and one's complete and absolute helplessness. And it's not sufficient to realize it philosophically, in words, in theory only. It is necessary to realize it in clear, simple, and concrete actual facts. In one's own facts. Each of us must do our own work here of self-observation. It's necessary to realize it in clear, simple, and concrete facts. When a man begins to know himself a little, he will see in himself many things that are bound to scare the living daylights out of him. That are bound to horrify him. So long as a man is not horrified, so long as he is not horrified at himself, he knows nothing about himself. Man has seen in himself something that horrifies him, scares the shit out of him. He decides to throw it off, to stop it, to put an end to it. Doesn't want to see himself. But however many efforts he makes, he feels that he cannot do this, that everything remains as it was. Cannot change yourself violently, willfully. Here he will see his impotence, his helplessness, and alas, he will see his nothingness. It's part of the process. Or again, when he begins to know himself, a man sees that he has nothing that is his, that he can call his own. That is, that all that he has regarded as his own, his views, his thoughts, convictions, his tastes, his habits, even his faults and his vices, all these are not his own, but have been either formed through imitation, or borrowed from somewhere else, ready-made, like something ready-made at the supermarket. In feeling this, a man may actually feel, as well as see, his nothingness. And in feeling his nothingness, a man should see himself as he really is. Not for a second, not for a moment, but constantly. Never forgetting. And this, by the way, is in connection with the idea given to us by Gurdjieff, the idea of reminding factors. So we must ponder on this idea in the process of awakening, seeing our nothingness, making allowance for the seeing of our nothingness. It's going to scare the shit out of us. And self-remembering helps us with these observations of ours.